mademoiselle, I am a major Duffy fan, and I could not be more excited to be here today. And I cannot wait to introduce you to our wonderful panelists, starting with Daniel Chu. Hello, Daniel.
Hello, Carly.
Do you want to tell us a little bit about yourself and what you do?
Yes, I'm the Portfolio Creative Executive for Tokyo Disney Resort and also the Creative Executive overseeing Duffy and Friends.
Wow. So you're one of the many people we have to thank for these characters.
One of the many. Yes.
Speaking of one of the many, next up we have Eva Lee. Oh no, I'm quite good. We each have our favorites. Mine is Gelatoni, but did anyone buy LinaBell while they were here? See this tail? Are you kidding me? I'm just saying, you don't have one? Today might be the day to get one. Eva, tell us a little bit about what you do with Duffy and Friends.
Sure. Hi everyone. Hello, friends of Duffy. I'm Eva Lee. I'm Senior Manager of Franchise Development at Walt Disney Imagineering. Part of my role is to find fun and creative and thoughtful ways to expand on the stories and the characters that were created at Imagineering for the parks, which Duffy and Friends is a part of.
Thank you so much. And last but not least, we have Charlie Watanabe. Charlie is sporting the latest from our fall-winter LinaBell line. And does me look great. Give him a hand! Now, Charlie, please tell us what you do in the world of Duffy and Friends.
I'm the global writer for Duffy and Friends, so like the Morning Glory story you just watched. I wrote based on some of actually my own experiences too. And I'm actually, to introduce myself, I'm the Senior Story Editor at Walt Disney Imagineering, and I write a lot of stories for Tokyo Parks with Daniel. I also do write lots of stories for Duffy all over the world.
Thank you so much. Well, I assume this room is packed with Duffy and Friends fans, so I would love to discuss with all three of you how far we've come. We have a full lineup of Friends now. We basically have a basketball team's worth. And I'm very much looking forward to breaking down each and every one of them, but I would love to start at the beginning, especially of Duffy's origins. Duffy the Disney Bear and his original arrival to Tokyo Disneysea. Daniel, can you tell me a bit about that?
Yes, well, back in 2004, we brought the Disney Bear to Tokyo, but wanted to give him a name and wanted to give him a story that connected him to Tokyo Disneysea. I hope many of you have been to Tokyo Disneysea. It's one of the most beautiful parks in the world that we've ever built, and there is an area there called Cape Cod. And so in Cape Cod, that's where Duffy was first introduced. And the story is that we developed for Duffy is that Minnie made Duffy, stitched Duffy, as a gift to Mickey so that Mickey would have a companion as he traveled the different ports of call around Tokyo Disneysea. And where you can find him is in this little corner of Cape Cod.
Now, for anyone who has not had the pleasure of going to Tokyo Disneysea, can you tell us a bit about what sort of Duffy sights or experiences they might see when they are in that space?
Well, right now, the original location where you could find Duffy was in a little store called Aunt Peg's general store. But since Duffy has become so popular, we've added a place where you can meet him called the Cape Cod Village Greeting Place. There is a stage show with Duffy and the Cape Cod Cook-Off. And around Disneysea, you'll see like Duffy right here, he's sitting on a little photo stand here, you will find those little stands, those little photo spots everywhere around Disneysea so that you can take a picture of your own Duffy in Tokyo Disneysea.
And is the point of that to kind of be like your Duffy is on vacation with you?
Yeah, what's really interesting about our guests in Japan is they have basically, they are taking Duffy around their journey through Tokyo Disneysea, just like Mickey does. So Duffy is their companion in the parks. There is a specific way that they hold their Duffy when they walk through the parks.
Please show us, please.
So you never hold your Duffy or your Duffy friend with them facing you. Now in America, this is how you would hold it because you want to see their face. But in Japan, you always hold them facing out because you want them to experience the park with you. And so it's a very, very different way of thinking of a friend and a companion. They will eat with their Duffys. They will get the high chairs to eat with the Duffys. They rent strollers for their Duffys. They dress up their Duffys in many, many costumes. These are all custom-made, guest-produced costumes for their Duffys. And when we saw our guests doing this and creating their own stories with their Duffy, we thought, oh, there's got to be some more friends of Duffy that we have to produce.
And that is how we got to this lineup. Look at that. Give it up for Duffy and Friends. Now there's so much more to these characters beyond just sharing a similar look and being friends. So I would love to break down each individual character and what they represent, starting with Duffy the Disney Bear.
So, Charlie, you want to say
We're all looking at you, Charlie.
Let's go for it, Charlie.
I think Daniel already explained how Duffy came to be. So, but one of the things about Duffy is that, I talk about the sort of a philosophical beliefs and vision we have about each of the friends. And so for Duffy, he is, his core value is pure innocence. And the reason that's so important for Duffy and Friends overall is that we all have this pure innocence, or had this pure innocence when we were little. And we were able to see the world as is. We were able to appreciate friends, people who care about you as they are. And as we get older, we start to develop jealousy, pride, and all sorts of things that will hinder our ability to feel happy and make everybody happy. And so I always think like Duffy is the character that would remind us that we all have an inner Duffy in ourselves, right? So that if you remember that, then you can go back to that pure, innocent self. And that's, I think, what Duffy does to all of us. And since Dan already talked about the origin story, so I thought I'd just share that philosophy behind Duffy himself.
Isn't that beautiful? Give it up for Charlie! If you were here because you were like, that bear's cute and I kind of like it, brace yourself. Part of the story. And so as we discussed with Daniel, after Duffy came Shelley May. There was clearly a demand. Yeah, give it up for Shelley May! There's clearly a demand for another character. But who is Shelley May?
Okay, Shelley May is a friend of Duffy at that point. She's friends with everybody, but she actually is a little bit adventurous than Duffy. Duffy is pretty, a little bit timid sometimes, and he's a little bit reserved. He's not a risk taker, but Shelley May is the one who is a little bit more adventurous, and she would encourage Duffy to take an extra step and then try new things. And she's also very dexterous, and she is crafty, so she's able to make a lot of things with her hands. And she loves making gifts for her friends, especially for those who are in need. And she goes out of her way to help others with her handmade gifts.
Incredible, I love it. And once we were introduced to Shelley May, next came Gelatoni. We got some Gelatoni gelatoni fans in the house today.
I know, so we have this internal fight over gelatoni, Danny and me, because I wanted the whole gelatoni today. I know he's like, it's mine. I'm like, okay, that is against the philosophy of Duffy and Friends. I'm like,
Yeah, you have some lessons to learn from that short.
I know. Like, yeah. So anyway, Gelatoni is a very artistic cat, but he's not only just artistically talented, but he's also able to see beauty in everything he sees, which means that he's able to see beyond his eyes. And I think we often forget to see that there's beauty in pretty much everything, but he's the one who would remind us that, wait, let's see beyond what our eyes see. And so one of the things about Duffy and Friends is that they all teach each other about something, but not in a kind of an in-your-face way, in a very subtle way. They are able to kind of, because they are just who they are. For example, Gelatoni doesn't think that, oh, I'm so artistically talented, you should learn something from me about art. He would never, ever even think that. They are all little children, and so they are not, they don't have any pride or they don't brag what they have. It's just so natural. It's a natural part of them. So, yeah, he's the one who, very subtly teaches everyone the value of art and being able to see beauty in everything.
Because Gelatoni was the first non-bear friend, what went into that decision, and and this question is for any of you, how did you land on a cat? How did you choose Gelatoni to be the first one out of the gate?
Yeah, well, I mean, with both Duffy and then Shelley May coming out, it would have been very just common to go, okay, we'll just make a whole series of bears, right? But part of our job was to think about, okay, how can we expand the world of Duffy? And I really felt that there needed to be a kind of a diverse family of characters that had very strong personality traits. And so, as you know, Gelatoni is very artistically gifted. And so we wanted, Duffy can be somewhat neutral in a way because he's so innocent and so childlike. And so having these other characters that had very strong personalities, as well as being kind of different animals or different forms, I felt would be create much more interesting stories, would allow us to have very deeper stories and also create characters that might appeal to very different people.
And it worked because next we have Stella Lou, member of Duffy and Friends.
Seems like we have a lot of Stella Lou fans. Stella Lou is a rabbit who loves to dance, but also she's pretty spunky, and her dream is to become an established dancer. And so she tries really hard, and I think many of you are familiar with the way Duffy met Stella Lou. She was practicing on the stage, and she would keep falling, and Duffy got really concerned. But she was like, "I'm fine." I'm like, "Because it's my dream to become a dancer." And then Duffy goes like, "I thought dream is something you have while you're sleeping," and then she was like, "Well, trying to be something that you want to be is also a dream." And that's when Duffy learns what a dream means. But at the same time, Duffy says to Stella Lou, like, "You are already a star to me." And and thus, actually, the name Stella, star, came from too. Because there's obviously Duffy learns what a dream is, right, from Stella Lou, but Stella Lou also learns Duffy's innocent but caring, genuine, sort of words, and then that really kind of cemented their relationship, a friendship.
And visually, this is the first character that looks a bit different, specifically with those ears rendered in plush. How, in the design process, you went for it. Like, you didn't make little ears on Stella Lou. How did you reach this conclusion of just really leaning in and making her look so good?
Well, again, I mean, we really wanted to make the characters very different from each other and highlight what makes them special. And while making sure that when you saw her, you could sense that she is part of this whole family of friends around Duffy. The colors of Duffy and Friends are somewhat muted. They're not like bright primary colors. And so that's what's very important for us as well, because when you look at them, they do have a soothing quality to them, and I think our fans really appreciate that.
Actually, I decided to put on these, pink shirt and blue things so that I would become the next friend of Duffy.
I think you're automatically a friend of Duffy.
Oh, that's right. I am actually.
Daniel mentioned the soothing quality of them. A word that I learned from Charlie was iyashi. And we don't have a equivalent word in English, but it means all things that I think we all need, which is soothing, calm, comfort. So sort of regardless of the character or the animal type, we make sure that in all sort of executions of the friend, right, that iyashi is really carried all the way through.
And I know even for myself, I didn't know that word at first, but I knew that quality, that element within these characters is apparent, even if you don't realize it or not.
Exactly. Yashi is the next umami. I think Yashi is going to enter the English lexicon. I think Yashi is I think one of the things we found is that Yashi is a global concept because I think regardless of what culture you live in, you want something that makes you feel relaxed, you feel loved, you feel soothed and calm, peaceful, and then that's the kind of feeling we need. And if you're ready for Japanese economy 101, I'll tell you that in the 80s, we had this bubble economy where everything was just so business oriented, everybody worked so hard, overworked and all that, and the economy bubble burst, and everybody was like, what was that? And then everybody was exhausted and stressed, and then that's when the word iyashi became such a social word. And so everybody wanted something that would make them feel like really relaxed, loved, and that's seems to be what Duffy and Friends are bringing to all the fans. Regardless, even in China or Aulani, Hawaii or Japan. It's just an amazingly important feeling. And I think when we create these characters and when I write stories, I always have that in mind. I'm like, how can we provide iyashi to the people who actually read the stories and experience the characters?
Beautifully put. Thank you, Charlie. Our next friend is Cookie Ann. Do we have any Cookie Ann fans in the house?
Amazing. Cookie Ann, even though she does have a chef's hat, but she's not just good at cooking. What she's really good at is combining seemingly unrelated things and to create something unique and amazing. And she does do that oftentimes in her recipes, but that's not the only thing. I mean, if you know the origin story, Duffy actually was offered this cotton candy waffle sandwich. I mean, who has had waffles or cotton candy on waffles?
You have, Charlie. You have.
Yes, I have. Of course, when you write stories like that, you gotta try it and you gotta do it. And one of these days, probably we're gonna show the longer version of Cookie Ann's origin story, in which where you will find Cookie Ann's very inventive spirit. She really invents so many wonderful things. And again, the philosophical message behind her is that when we are faced with issues and can't solve certain things, but if you actually combine two things that seem so unrelated, but then you actually come up with something amazing you didn't think would work. And so I strongly recommend that you try that today. Like when you're faced with something, just combine two things. The things that don't seem connected, Because again, as we get older, we are so influenced by social expectations, right? A has to go with B, C has to go with D, but then probably A with an H, whether A and a Z, and then you'll come up with something completely different, and you've never seen that before. That's what Cookie Ann does for you.
I know we have a few more friends to get to, but I think now would be a great time to discuss just how all of these friends work together. I know that you've mentioned before that they kind of bring out the best in each other. How did their different personality traits kind of intertwine to improve Duffy and Friends, the group as a whole?
Well, they do complement each other in terms of talent, personality, and I don't know, Carly, I think I told you that we have this whole map of interrelationships between Duffy and Shelley Mae, Duffy and
You gotta drop that map, Charlie.
Yeah. Yeah. So they, for example, one thing about, for example, our new character LinaBell and Cookie Ann have every single one of them actually is a unique relationship. But Cookie Ann also is very inventive. Now, LinaBell, we're going to talk about, is also like a detective character who loves solving problems. And if you know, you might see later today, but Cookie Ann has a spatula with a hole in the middle, and she uses that almost like a magnifying glass because she wants to solve problems too. And so actually Cookie Ann feels like LinaBell is her idol. It's like, it's like one day I want to be like LinaBell. I mean, this is the kind of relationship I would create because they all emulate each other. I want to be like you, Duffy. I want to be like you, Shelley Mae, and I want to be like Daniel.
Means he literally wants to take that gelato. Well, one more friend, and we have many more, but the next friend up is Olu Melumel. I like Olu Melumel.
Yeah.
I just like gelato the most.
Yes. Olu Melumel is a turtle, and he is talented musically, but that's not the only thing he's talented in. He is able to be one with nature. And so he's able to play with a bird singing or trees like rustling and those things that the natural things that we might not notice, he's able to hear music in them. And so he's able to play or create harmony with nature. And of course he plays ukulele. But somehow, when you're around him, listening to his music, you feel a lot of yashi, and you feel like everything is going to be okay. That's the power of Olu Melumel. Carly, remember that.
I will remember.
Before we get to our newest friend, I just want to cut in and ask a question that many fans have asked to me. What's the deal with Tippy Blue?
Yeah,
I know some of you out there know who Tippy Blue is, and Tippy Blue is not really a part of this narrative. So, where does Tippy Blue fit in?
He's there. He's there. He's flying somewhere right now. He's a seagull, right? And he's a mail carrier, actually, because Carly asked me to explain who Tippy Blue is, so I kind of just like, what would be the perfect word to describe Tippy Blue? And actually the word scatterbrain kind of works the best. And according to Merriam-Webster dictionary, it says a person or a seagull who is forgetful, disorganized, and unable to concentrate or think clearly. So that's definitely Tippy Blue. And yeah, he delivers mail in Cape Cod. But he's a very good character to have among Duffy and Friends. First of all, he's not a child. And also, because he's forgetful and he screws up, and so it's a very nice element to have, especially when you're writing a story.
And you can still see Tippy Blue at Tokyo Disneysea at Cape Cod Cook-Off, correct?
Yes, yes.
On stage. There's a full stage show, you guys. It's ridiculous. It's so good. Has anyone seen it? Yeah, we're in the right room. And last but not least, we have our new friend, LinaBell. Look at this. Look at this. I can't get over the tail and looks at the head. Now, what is it about LinaBell that made her worthy of joining this group of illustrious friends?
The worthy. Well, she is, as Daniel said, every time we come up with a new character, we think of all sorts of things, but she is the one who is the most intelligent, and she loves to solve mysteries, but she also loves to learn, and then she's like a detective, and because she wants to find solutions to all sorts of problems. And then, of course, we're going to watch a little video now, but I would like to just say that the reason, or philosophical again, reason behind LinaBell is that the clues are everywhere, that when we are faced with our everyday problems with friends, work, or school, we kind of like, I'm stuck in this problem, and the clues to your problems might be right in front of you, you just don't see them. And so she's the one who teaches us to kind of just open your eyes, take out your mental magnifying glass, and then you'll probably see all the clues that you thought that didn't exist. And so that's LinaBell.
And let's see LinaBell in action in Lost and Found. A thousand times, but the way their little faces move in those videos is so cute. I can't handle it. Oh, LinaBell. Now, it seems like, as the slide says, she loves to learn new things, but it seems like LinaBell, even though she is the newest, she has quite an impact on the full range of Duffy and Friends. She brings a different energy to the group. Can you guys talk about that a bit?
Yeah, I think Dan referred to it a lot, but we think about the whole group when we start developing a new character. Charlie walked you through 7 characters that were developed over the course of maybe nearly 2 decades, right? So the amount of time and thoughtfulness and research, right? This is an Imagineering project after all, so the amount of rigor, right, that we put into researching traits and personalities so that when we do introduce a new friend, that a new dynamic is added, right? That it's complementary to the existing set of traits, but that it also adds a new dynamic and an energy and a new dimension to the friends, because ultimately they do need to work in harmony and together. So it's a balancing of those two things.
And the development process of these characters seems like no easy task. Can you tell us a bit about what we're looking at right now?
Yeah, these are some early concept images of LinaBell, and story is always first, right? We always think through the personality traits, the uniqueness of them, what it adds to the friend group. And then we layer on top of it the design elements, what type of animal, what color, what size, right? Is it big, is it small? How do we really make the character also stand on its own, as well as fit in with the rest of the friends?
I would say with these sketches show is we were also looking at silhouette. So when you look at each of the characters, if you were to squint your eyes, would you be able to identify them? And what we really wanted in her silhouette, as you had seen or discussed, Carly, was her tail and her ears. Her ears are really, really large. So she definitely is a different, has a different silhouette than the other characters.
It still fits in wonderfully. And it seems like everyone's a fan of LinaBell because her launch was nothing short of successful. Can you tell the audience a bit about what we're looking at?
Yeah, so before the launch of any new character, we've collectively, along with a bigger, larger group at Imagineering, and our site partners, pour their sort of heart and soul into these characters, but you never really know, right? You never really know how the guests and the fans will react, and these are some images from the first day of LinaBell's introduction at Shanghai Disney Resort last September. And the pictures that you saw were sort of morning to evening as we welcomed LinaBell into Duffy and Friends, and the response has just been so incredibly overwhelming, I think. And at the end of last year, she was actually selected as InStyle China's Friend of the Year. They have a Person of the Year for their annual issue that releases every December, but for their 2021 issue, LinaBell was selected as their Friend of the Year, and just such an honor, and I think for us to have welcomed her. So these are some new shots, really hot off the press from Hong Kong Disneyland, which welcomed LinaBell into the fold about 48 hours ago. So we are just so heartwarming to see how guests have embraced her and welcomed these friends into the bunch, and it's just been really incredible. Some of the product offerings, food and beverage offerings. These are from Tokyo Disney Resort. That tissue box holder.
There's a lot of detail in those photos. So we gotta talk about is it a tea service? Is it a
Yes,
LinaBell
there
tea
is
service?
a tea service where you can probably bring your LinaBell along, right? And just bask in all things LinaBell inspired and LinaBell themed. And it's just been so incredible. And being here with you all, watching these videos and from backstage hearing your reactions to the Morning Glory video. We haven't screened it and been in a room with this many people, and to hear your collective awes, I think for us have been just been so incredible.
We were all talking about it. It was very exciting. And I know we've talked before about the costuming, the clothing for LinaBell. Can you talk to us about why it's so significant that she dresses a little differently than the other Duffy and Friends?
I think it's related to everything we've talked about, right? We're really focused on making sure that the traits, the individual personalities that obviously Charlie has thought through and so carefully sort of mapped out for these friends are expressed in all forms, right? Not only in their plush forms, but in their many outfits that they get dressed up in throughout the year. So Charlie's worst nightmare, one of his worst nightmares, is for any of the two friends to be interchangeable, right? A shirt for Olu Melumel should not also be fitting for Duffy, right? Because what they dress themselves and how they express themselves should be really unique to who they are. And we don't have, besides some of these stop motions that we've released, we don't have a lot of opportunity to do a lot of that storytelling. So we want to make sure that that's carried through in every single sort of expression of the friends.
And I know we don't have the image on screen anymore of them inside the park, but something that I learned from you guys that was so fascinating to me is that Duffy and Friends don't know Disney parks exist. Can you explain that?
Well, why should they?
Because I thought before, until I spoke with you, I thought they lived there.
Well, it's very important. We wanted to make sure that they lived in specific lands in the parks, but they don't know about the theme park. They know about the land.
Right, so they live in this fantastical world. And when we say Cape Cod in American waterfront, we're not talking about this American waterfront Cape Cod in Tokyo Disneysea. It's a fantastical place called Cape Cod. And so Mediterranean Harbor, the Gelatoni is from, is really not in Tokyo Disneysea. Kukian, Main Street, USA, but that's not in Hong Kong Disneyland. They live in this fantastical world, and it's very important that they live in a very pure world where there is no like theme parks or Disney logos or any of those things. And so that we can really create this very pure, genuine world. Once we start mixing different worlds like that, then it's very difficult to tell the pure story that we want to convey.
And then what is the philosophy of them all joining together in a Disney park? How does that happen?
They are not gathering in Disney Park.
I'm sorry. I'm gonna get in trouble. When we see them all standing on Main Street USA, are they visiting their friends?
Yeah, they're just visiting friends. Yeah, for what? Is it funny?
I think it's similar to how Anna and Elsa, right, Kristoff, Olaf, they live in Arendelle. We have expressions of them in the park, and Duffy and Friends, they also have their own world that they live in. And that's Cape Cod or Mediterranean Harbor, Main Street USA. So those are some of the philosophies that we sort of have built out in our story world.
And I know this morning in the Disney Parks panel, Josh D'Amaro announced a bit of news about Duffy and Friends. Would you mind re-announcing that for anyone who didn't happen to be there?
Sure, if you all were not there, and we know one of the key questions is when are Duffy and Friends returning to the US? Well, they're returning in the form of a Disney Plus series, 6 episodes, stop motion. We really want the tactical nature, the Iyashi of the Friends really expressed, and more details to come, but we're really, really excited to be working with Disney Plus on it.
Amazing. And what fascinates me, good job. What fascinates me about these shorts is that they never speak. There's really no words uttered, and yet you still know all of their interpersonal relationships and how they work together. How do you pull something like that off in a little short video?
So when I write these stories, actually there is dialogue, and so that we can discuss the emotional content, emotional direction, and all that. And we're sort of, thankfully so far, been able to express the emotions without words by actually, for the first time, actually with this Morning Glory, we really manipulated their eyes, their mouth shapes, and then you would be so surprised how much emotion you can express just by the position of the mouth. And I don't know if some of you seen the spring surprise video where Olu Melumel falls into the pit. Spoiler alert. And so, but then I want you to pay attention to the position of his mouth, and then he switches from side to side, and just so amazing. We work with this amazing stop motion production company, and then they just know, they have learned so much about how we express emotions through nonverbal, that stop motion context. And I just want to give a shout out to all our character artists too. I mean, they really bring to life all the the character. We talk about it, but the character artists, Ethan Reed,
Go Ethan!
I mean, amazing artists have really contributed to bringing these characters to life, and that's why they're there. And so we're really grateful that we are, able to work with really talented people, including that stop motion production company.
And we currently have a lineup of 7. Don't get mad at me for asking this, but can we expect more?
Daniel?
There's always, room for more in our imaginations.
Good answer.
I tried, you guys, I tried.
No, and seriously, we do talk about like new characters, but we always say, you know, if the story we tell requires a new character, then we might create a new character. The story first.
Yeah, and I think what's really, really exciting for us working with Disney Plus is that ability to now go first out with our stories and with new experiences with the characters, and that may require other characters to come into the story. And so we really, instead of designing a character and then having it, you know, having them be part of the Friends, we think it's actually going to be much better to develop the stories, and then if a new character is required, then we will add new characters.
There might even be some new characters like that butterfly in the image that you see that we've had featured in certain content that have a backstory, right, Charlie?
Yeah, there are some secrets that'll be revealed.
I don't know these secrets. I gotta find out. Before we move on, I do just want to quickly ask each of you, what is your most memorable moment of working on Duffy and Friends?
I don't know, I became a friend of Duffy in 2007, and in Japan. When I was working in Japan, I was living there, overseeing the WI office there, and I got to see our guests in Japan really embrace these characters in a way that I have never seen our fans embrace other characters. It was quite amazing to see how they dressed their Duffys, how they named their Duffys different names, and they walk around the parks with their Duffys, and it took a long while for me to really understand what was going on. You know, as the birth rate goes down in Japan, the Duffy ownership goes up. Right? It's sort of like surrogate children that they have, but I do think that what Charlie talked about, where this sense of Iyashi and the comfort that he provides them is really quite special. And I think it's something that Tokyo Disney Resort provides for our guests overall, is this ability to be safe, feel assured, and to be able to express themselves without any judgment. You know, in Japan's society is very, very judgmental, and there's a lot of stress and pressure in that in that culture.
Look at me, so stressed.
Charlie's so stressed. But what we do at the resort and what we do with Duffy and Friends is we really give them an avenue to express themselves and be free of that. And I think, to me, that is what's really special about Duffy and Friends.
Actually, I've been reading scientific research on that. And in fact, as we humans hold something fuzzy, soft, and then chemicals are secreted in our brain, and that makes us feel better. And it's actually for better sort of a mental being and like a life-changing experience, some research actually showed. So we are really contributing to the improvement of humanity.
Hear that, Duffy and Friends is good for you. Real quickly, Eva or Charlie, do you have a memory that sticks out as?
Probably my first time at Tokyo Disneysea. I wasn't actually part of this team then, but walking into that park and seeing our guests literally and physically, right, sort of hold on to their friends as they were going on attractions, and I think certain attractions have lockers for their friends, and just wondering and being so curious about who these characters were and why they were so different from anything I'd ever seen at our domestic parks. So I think personally that memory is pretty strong. Professionally, my tenure on the Duffy and Friends team hasn't been as long as Daniel and Charlie's, but working alongside them and a fabulous team on the development of LinaBell, I think, and launching her into the world has just been so just fulfilling and heartwarming, and working with Charlie on fleshing out her story and then working with our partners to bring her to life and bring her to our guests. That moment's pretty special.
Charlie, real quick.
Real quick. Actually, one of the most memorable moments just happened about 50 minutes ago. Standing really, as Eva said. And because we get to create these characters and all that, create stop motion videos, but they're all on YouTube, right? We don't get to see that like screened in a theater. And so when you were watching Morning Glory, you were just standing right there, and then everybody goes like, this is what it feels like when you're in a screening of your own movie, and then you're like, wow, people are actually understanding what's happening, liking it. That was such a special moment.
And I think you're about to have another special moment just like that, correct?
Yes.
Do you guys want to let our audience know what we're about to see?
Sure. So, like all the big studio panels, right, we had to bring something special for our fans. Really hot off the press is our new stop motion that Charlie wrote the story for. Is Mystery Lunchbox, our official title for it. You all in this room are the first to see it ever. It'll be released at a later date, but we're so excited to share it with you, and there may or may not be some new characters actually featured in it.
It's actually called Lunchbox Mystery.
Oh, sorry.
Just for the record.
Let's roll the clip. two last special surprises. The first is that on your way out, you'll be given a small giveaway, a small treat. But that's nothing in comparison to what we've got now. Say hello to Duffy and LinaBell. Please stay in your seats. They're going to come on stage for a few moments. You can take photos, but they're